Well, hello there. If you're new, welcome. My name's Josh, and this is the Wild West Extravaganza, a history podcast where we discuss all the real life people and events from the Old West. Today's show is going to be a little different, though. Rather than talk history, I thought I'd share a few announcements. Sort of a state of the podcast address, just my way of touching base and letting you know what's going on and what to expect going forward. So right off the bat, huge thank you to everyone over on YouTube for helping me to hit that 100,000 subscriber mark. When I think back over the last 6 years, I truly cannot believe how much the show has grown. Matter of fact, I cannot believe it's grown at all. When I first started, this was just a lark, just basically to see if I could do it. And then slowly, much to my astonishment, people did start listening. But even then, I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but I initially capped this whole thing at just 30 episodes. I figured if I could knock out 30, I could call it a day, just say that I did it, right? But then more and more people started listening. And after a while, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if I could just quit my job and do this for a living? I never thought it would happen, but hey, here we are, and I sit before you, a genuine professional podcaster. Who knows? I might be back on the forklift by this time next year, but for now at least, I can honestly say I am doing what I love for a living, and it feels really good, and I have you to thank for that. So thank you. Speaking of thanks, once again, I don't know if I've ever shared this story, but if you're watching the video version of this episode, which I will share on Patreon, I am wearing an old black hoodie. You can see this same hoodie in several of my videos on YouTube. I consider this my lucky hoodie. This is the one I was wearing on the last night of my old job. I took a really big gamble going full time with this podcast. It was very touch and go for several months. But after that final night at work, I got home and I threw this hoodie in the washing machine. And from there, I just hung it up in the closet. I didn't put it on again for about 6 or 7 months. And as soon as I did, I stuck my hands in the pocket, and I felt something, a little residue of concrete. You see, that last night at my old job, I spent most of the night stacking heavy-ass 80-pound bags of concrete, just basically thinking, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I knew there was another way. I had to find another way, and thanks to you, I did find that way. Speaking of which, here's a pro tip for you. If you quit your very active job where you're lifting heavy shit and moving around all day, and you replace that with a stationary job where you're just sitting down, you might want to go ahead and get a gym membership. This is the first time in my life I've ever just spent my days sitting at a desk, and boy oh boy is my ass getting fat. Anyway, so yeah, big thanks to all of the subscribers over there on YouTube, and everyone else for that matter. Even if you're listening on a traditional podcasting app like Spotify or Apple, those download numbers are also continuing to grow, and for that I am eternally grateful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to be very clear that I don't take any of this for granted, or I don't take it lightly. You, yes you, have allowed me to pursue my dreams. It's very humbling even to contemplate. So whether you're on YouTube or Spotify or wherever, I'm just glad you're here. You keep listening and or watching, and I will do my best to keep putting out new content. Deal? Deal. Okay, so all of that said, there will be a few changes going forward, most of which you probably won't even notice. Long story short, I am discontinuing the merchandise, buy me a coffee, and the paid subscription option for the Wild West newsletter. One of my main goals going into 2025 was to simplify everything, at least as much as humanly possible. And that means eliminating some stuff. And really, this just makes things easier on my end. Gives me more time to focus on the actual show, and it also helps me not to annoy you by always asking for a million different things. The newsletter is not going anywhere. It is currently 100% free, and it will remain 100% free. Okay, that is my pledge to you. The paid subscription tier, that was strictly voluntary. It was just another way for people to support the show financially, just like buy me a coffee. And many of you did choose the paid option. Once again, I am very grateful for that. But I do think the best course of action is to go ahead and do away with it, just to eliminate any possible confusion, and like I said, just to make things simpler on my end. If you were a paid member of the newsletter, you are still subscribed. You don't have to do anything on your end. All you're doing now is just saving money. And once again, thank you. By the way, if you have not yet subscribed to the newsletter, what are you waiting on? You can do so now by clicking the link down below in the description, or just by going there directly at wildwestnewsletter.com. Like I said, it is 100% free. It's just an easy way for me to share additional Old West history with you, and occasional updates like today. I do not sell your email address to marketers. I don't spam your inbox, nothing like that. The Wild West Extravaganza podcast is also not going anywhere. To the contrary, we are going full steam ahead, okay? To the window, to the wall, to the sweat drip down my ball. Eventually, I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about. I mean, let's be real. The Old West was a relatively tiny blip in human history, and there are only so many people and events to talk about. But don't worry, because we are nowhere near that point. We've still got a ton of topics to cover. I'm talking years worth of material. I mean, think about it. We haven't even covered Butch Cassidy or Geronimo or Red Cloud or Wyatt Earp. I even plan on branching out to topics that may not be considered purely Old West, like the Texas Revolution or Daniel Boone, or even the Hatfields and McCoys. And when I finally do run out of topics, I'll just start a different podcast focused on a different era of history. I've got a lot of really cool ideas, stuff I think you're going to enjoy, but it's just a matter of finding time to make it all a reality. So yeah, like I said, it is business as usual with the podcast. Only difference going forward, there will be a few periodic pauses, and I'll explain what I mean in just a moment. But first, let's talk about Buy Me a Coffee. This was just another way for people to contribute financially, sort of like a digital tip jar. And make no mistake about it, your many contributions over the years have most definitely helped to keep this show afloat. It also served as motivation. It kept me going even when I wanted to quit, when I thought nobody was watching or listening. And once again, I am beyond grateful, and to be honest, a little in awe. I know you work hard for your money, and the fact that you chose to use it to support me and my little show is truly humbling. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. That said, I do think it's time to put that particular horse out to pasture. And really, this just goes back to what I mentioned earlier about simplifying the process. Basically, I just want my workflow to be as streamlined as possible with little to no distractions. And once again, it's just something I no longer have to ask you for. I don't want to make it sound like I'm always begging for money. As far as the merchandise goes, it will probably return one of these days. I'm just not sure when. This is one of those things I want to do the right way. I want to hire a graphic designer. I want to find a place that can handle all of the orders. And really, to be perfectly honest, I'd like to offer up something other than t-shirts. But I just don't know what that is yet or what it looks like. There's this philosophy podcast called The Daily Stoic, and they sell these really cool medallions, sort of like challenge coins with the Latin phrase memento mori written on them. I thought something like that would be cool, but I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. If that sounds like something you may be interested in, hit me up, Josh at Wild West Extra, and let me know. Or if there's something else you would like to see me offer up as far as merchandise goes, I am all ears. Another thing I am considering, if there's a demand, and this is a very big if, is possibly at some point in the future doing a few live shows. There are other podcasts that do live shows, but then again, those podcasts are much larger audience-wise than the Wild West Extravaganza. So I may be putting the cart before the horse here. I don't know. If it sounds like this is something you would like to attend, just hit me up. We have got listeners literally all over the globe. But when I really look at my analytics, it appears as if the bulk of my listeners are here in the United States. And they seem to be concentrated in Dallas, Chicago, Denver, Seattle, and Los Angeles. Those are the big hubs for Wild West Extravaganza listeners. So if I did do a live show, I would likely pick one of those cities. And at this point, I am leaning strongly towards Dallas. Just some place that's a very central location. It's easy to get to, right? I'll also need to figure out the logistics. I'm assuming I would need to rent a venue. I don't know if there's any sort of legal shit I would need to do. I don't know about permits or anything like that. And the way I envision it, the live show, it would basically just be me literally sitting or standing in front of you like I am right now, reading a script. And then maybe follow that up with a Q&A session or a meet and greet, something like that. It's just a way for us to hang out in person, right? Get to know each other. Like I said, if this is something you would be interested in, I'll definitely give it some more thought. But I do think I need at least 200 people to commit before I start the planning phase. So just email me, Josh at Wild West Extra, and let me know if you're down with the sickness, and we'll go from there. So yeah, other than all of that, it is business as usual. So just to sum things up, buy me a coffee, gone. Merchandise, gone, for now at least. And the paid subscription option for the newsletter is gone. Everything else, full steam ahead, including Patreon. Matter of fact, I am doubling down on Patreon. I really want to make that happen. I want that to be our one-stop shop for all things Wild West Extravaganza. If you're not familiar, Patreon is a subscription-based platform, almost like a crowdfunding type platform that allows you, the audience, to support the creator versus doing what I'm doing now and relying on advertisements. For just $5 a month, you can access the entire back catalog of the Wild West Extravaganza, even the super embarrassing early stuff, in case you want to hear how bad the show was when it first started. Spoiler alert, it was really bad. By the way, if you're somewhat new, there's a lot of stuff I covered early on that is only available on Patreon. Quanah Parker, Clay Allison, Boone Helm, just to name a few. I even have an episode on the Fetterman fight and the mysterious death of Butch Cassidy. There's even an interview I did a long time ago. I keep forgetting I even did this interview, but I had the opportunity to interview the great William Sanderson, a.k.a. Mayor E.B. Farnham from HBO's Deadwood. That also is Patreon exclusive. I will warn you, though, there is a reason many of these episodes are only on Patreon, mostly due to what I said earlier about them not being very good. I struggled a lot early on just trying to find my own voice, so consider yourself warned. And I am slowly going through and re-recording many of those earlier episodes. So if you don't sign up for Patreon, don't worry, I will do the death of Butch Cassidy again one of these days. I'll cover Boone Helm again, and I'll put it on the public feed. The old stuff is just there for you to point at and laugh at me, okay? But that's just one tiny benefit to joining Patreon. That $5 is also going to give you early access to new episodes. For the longest time now, I've been trying to publish new content to Patreon about 24 hours in advance, but I do plan on switching that to 48 hours in advance next month. So in other words, if you're a patron, you get new episodes on Monday mornings as opposed to Wednesdays. And the best part is, all of these episodes, the new ones, the old ones, all of them, are completely ad-free. So no more of those pesky commercials. And yes, there will be even more exclusive content on Patreon that will not be released to the general public. I'll give you a for instance. I drive around all the time talking to myself, like a crazy person. So lately, I've been recording these little inner monologues on my cell phone. Completely unscripted, it's just audio, it's not video. It's very informal, just me sharing my thoughts on a number of topics. Matter of fact, I just released one yesterday on Patreon, all about identifying and authenticating Old West photos, and my thoughts on that. And then earlier today, I filmed a video just giving you a tour of my little recording space. And once I get that edited, I will post that on Patreon. I'm even planning on doing a little short episode where I just discuss all of my own personal favorite podcasts and YouTube channels. So that's the type of exclusive content you're going to get on Patreon. Okay, Josh, enough of this yapping. How does Patreon work? Well, like I said, it's a subscription platform. You just sign up. Right now, I only have one payment tier. It's just $5 a month, and this gives you everything that I just mentioned. Early access, access to the back catalog, no more commercials, exclusive content, and you even have the ability to send me direct messages on Patreon. You can do all of that through the Patreon app itself, or you can sync Patreon up with your podcast player of choice, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and listen to all of the ad-free exclusive content like you normally listen to all your other podcasts. It really is an easy process. I've done it myself on several occasions, and I do have a detailed description in Patreon, a tutorial explaining how to do it, along with a tutorial video. Like I said, if you normally listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Podcast Addict or CastBox or what have you, you just sign up for the $5 Patreon tier, and then you can listen to all those ad-free episodes like you normally listen to any other podcast. They show up right there on your feed, just like normal. Here's the thing, though. This part is very important. If you have an iPhone, do not use the in-app purchase option to sign up for Patreon. This is for iPhone users, okay? Whether it's my Patreon or anyone else's Patreon, don't use your iPhone to sign up because they're going to tack on an extra 30% fee. I don't know why they do it, but they do it. Instead, you can bypass that extra fee by signing up on a web browser. And once you've signed up and you've joined, you're good. You can then use your Patreon app on your iPhone all you want, no problem. Just don't use the app itself to sign up initially. Go to the website, and you should be good. And if your preferred method of consuming the Wild West Extravaganza is YouTube, and you're unwilling or just unable to use another app or even the Patreon app, first of all, I totally understand. I get it. But as far as the early access to new episodes goes and the ad-free content, you are kind of out of luck, for now at least. I'm not sure if there's a way to sync up Patreon with YouTube, but I am looking into it. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I can figure out a workable option. Okay, speaking of YouTube, and this goes into Patreon as well, the scariest thing about what I'm doing for a living, especially considering this is how I pay my bills and feed my family, is that it's very dependent on certain platforms. And in my case, this is especially true when it comes to YouTube. YouTube can and will nuke my channel with no warning whatsoever. And once that happens, it's just gone, like forever. I don't foresee this ever happening to the Wild West Extravaganza, but just in case, Patreon is a very easy way for me to somewhat insulate myself. And same goes for the newsletter. Those are more centralized platforms. I own the content. You know, if my RSS feed or my YouTube channel got canceled, I could still reach out to you via Patreon and the newsletter. I could still release new episodes, even with those platforms. Now, that's the selfish reason I'm promoting Patreon so much today. An unselfish reason, well, I guess technically this is also sort of selfish, but I also really like the idea of building a community, okay? I've tried Facebook. I really don't like it. Sorry. I have found Patreon much easier to navigate, and it's got all the same bells and whistles anyway. You can leave comments, you can like posts, you can talk to other fans of Old West history, and like I said earlier, you can even send me a direct message. Whatever you feel like, you can do it there on Patreon. I think there's even a way to do live videos. I haven't tried it yet, but if you think you might be interested in watching me do a live video on Patreon, let me know and I'll check into it. Okay, so we're almost done. Just bear with me. This next part is sort of a bummer, but sadly, it is a necessity. After today, you will not be hearing from me again until early next month. Keep in mind that this is still a one-man operation, which means I just can't constantly churn out new episodes each and every single week. There's going to be times when I'll just have to call a timeout and play catch up, and now is one of those times. This does not mean I'm going to be on vacation for all of April, or even part of April. I am not going on vacation, I promise you. Far from it. Okay, I will be a busy little beaver, doing research, writing new scripts, and all the other stuff needed to create content. I just have to put a little buffer every now and then to give me some wiggle room. And you know, I've noticed that other podcasts, like Legends of the Old West, which many of you also listen to, they do something similar. They'll put out a new season, and then there won't be any new episodes for anywhere between a couple of weeks to sometimes even an entire month. Unfortunately, this is just a necessary evil, especially if you're focused on accuracy. I could easily just read from Wikipedia or let ChatGPT write my scripts for me, but I don't think that's what you're looking for, right? I also personally wouldn't be proud of putting out that kind of work. So, that said, while there won't be any new episodes until early May, don't worry, I will not be going completely radio silent. I'll still be sending out new editions of the newsletter, and I'll be putting out exclusive content on Patreon. Some of that stuff we've already discussed. Okay, just one more thing, and I'll let you get back to your business. As many of you already know, I am now appearing on camera over on YouTube, okay? And a good amount of subscribers were astonished to learn that I am not a black man. Others were curious as to why I didn't dress up like a cowboy. But here's the thing. As much as I love Halloween and playing make-believe, I am not a cowboy, okay? I know I've got a country accent, and I do have a few country tendencies, you know, like Old West history. Obviously, I love Westerns. I like hunting and going fishing on occasion. But guess what? I grew up in the suburbs, okay? Listening to punk rock. I haven't been on a horse in over 3 decades. And I don't even own cowboy boots right now, I don't think. The only boots I have are some rubber boots for when the shit gets a little too deep, which it oftentimes does. So I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I would feel a little silly dressing up as something that I'm not. And besides, it's not like you see other podcasters cosplaying, right? Like if I had a podcast all about World War II history, I don't think anybody would be asking me to dress up like General Patton. Or if I had a podcast about ancient Rome, I wouldn't be wearing a toga and talking like Spartacus. Don't get me wrong, I totally get why you want to see me go full throttle into the whole Western thing. I get it. Please don't misconstrue this as me being angry or irritated at all the requests. It's not that at all. It's just at the end of the day, I've got to stay true to who I am, and I don't feel like becoming a character, you know? I think that's the best way to describe it. I don't want to be a character on a TV show. I'm not acting here. What you see is what you get. Unless I'm doing an ad spot, I get kind of silly on those. If you're watching on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. But when I'm just recording these episodes, I just want to be me in front of the camera. Just like if we were hanging out, sitting around a campfire talking about the Old West, right? Funny story, but I actually considered getting into cowboy action shooting several years ago, way before I even knew what a podcast was. But then I found out you have to dress up in period costumes just to compete, so I noped out immediately. It's just not my thing. That's all it is to it. I love that y'all want me to dress up in a cowboy hat. I love that you care that much to give me tips like that, but it's just not who I am. Okay, so that's it, man. That's the state of the Wild West Extravaganza as of late March 2025. Once again, thank you so much for all of your support. I do not take it lightly, and I want to be able to continue providing you with content that you will enjoy. As always, please hit me up with any suggestions or complaints or recipes. If there's something I haven't covered yet, a particular person or event you want to hear about, let me know. I do have a list a mile long of future topics already, but I am always happy to add to it. All right, and I guess that's it for today. Thanks as always, and I will see you again, fingers crossed, no later than May 7th. Until then, please sign up for Patreon, and please sign up for the newsletter. Stay in the loop, and there are links down below to all of this. Be nice, have a great day, and adios. Bye.